Big event for nurses to actually come together and actually really think about what they do with their patients, with colleagues, and that huge contribution that they make. So when I was coming along today, I was thinking about our Florence Nightingale, and I was very fortunate to appoint our Florence Nightingale to NHS Forth Valley, Frances. And Frances hasn't joined us that long. I was thinking, I thought it was October. But already she's making an absolute huge difference, and I hope you all recognise that in terms of the culture that we're trying to create, and that culture of openness, transparency, and actually for people to actually tell us what it feels like on the ground. Good things and not so good things. So I'm delighted to be here amongst you. I'm kind of jealous because my best job was a ward sister many years ago, and I suppose it made my age away with that title, ward sister. But I'm going to hand over to Frances, who might want to say a few words as well. So thank you, Frances.
Firstly, thanks very much for accepting me here as your nurse director within NHS Forth Valley. That was very kind of you. I have had the opportunity to read through the book that Hilary has got in her hands, and we've all been through a really challenging few years in terms of the pandemic, and I had a few tears in my eyes when I was reading that book. Actually, it's a really compelling story of what it felt like to work during the pandemic here in Forth Valley. I wasn't with you at that time. I was out in the ambulance service, working in that space, and I recognise how challenging it was for all of us across the whole healthcare system. The messages in this book are phenomenal, from our youngest nurses to some of our oldest nurses and everything in between, telling us the story of how challenging it was, what it felt like, but also the honour that they had to serve in those really challenging circumstances. Probably something we'll never see again in our lifetime. And I just want to take the opportunity with Hilary and Cathy to recognise the fantastic work that you have all done through the last few years, but also throughout your careers. I'm heading off after this event to a long service award, and I've been lucky that I'm going to get one of those awards today, because I blagged one, because I've never had a long service award in 37 years in the NHS today, in terms of, so I was looking back at some old photographs and the opportunities that nursing has offered, both, some of them good, some of them a bit more challenging, but as a nursing family, I think we have pulled together, and I think we've pulled through, and I think we've done an amazing job. I won't cry at this moment because I am an emotional person, but I think just recognising how difficult it has been, and just to congratulate all of you on the fantastic job that you've done over the last few years, and acknowledge that we're not quite out of the woods yet. It's still really difficult most days. We are starting to see glimmers of light, but I think in terms of how we go forward, going forward together, as Cathy said, in a culture and environment where it's okay to say things are not okay, and we need to hear it, and we need to listen to it, and we need to react, and we need to respond. So that is the message that I want to share with you today. You know, the message is about our future. I'm trying to avoid where the speaker is. The message is, it's about our future, and looking at how we progress as a nursing profession, and take the time today just to acknowledge the opportunities that the profession has created, but also some of the challenges that you've had to face through entering into this profession. And just to say thank you again. I'm hugely humbled to be in the role that I'm in, and I will do my best to serve all of you as best I can. Okay.
I don't usually need a microphone. So it gives us great pleasure to present this book back to you today. 2 years ago, the RCN Forth Valley branch launched this because we couldn't come together like this to celebrate Nurses Day. And we have travelled throughout Forth Valley with the book, and in it is our story. It's how we saw the world a couple of years ago. It's what we did. It's how we came together to face the challenges and how we overcame them. And how every day that we came into work, although we were scared, although we didn't know what rules were what and it could change again tomorrow, we turned up and we were present and we did make a difference, not only to patients, to families, but to each other. This book contains our story and it will now be archived as part of our history, so we can look back and recognise what we did and celebrate that. So thank you for accepting the book and enjoy the stories.
Can I say a big, big thank you to Hilary and to everyone who's contributed to this. This is a legacy. This is the story that we can look back on. And like Frances, I'm really humbled to be here to recognise what everybody went through during that pandemic. And we're not going yet, but actually we've got a bright future. And want everybody here today to be part of that bright future and to contribute to that future. But a huge thank you to Hilary, to the RCM, and I hope you have a really restful weekend for those people who are not working. Thank you.